Thank you. Very pleased to be with you here today to this new session of the Hydrogen Valley. We are very happy to see that the Valley is a concept which we launched with the joint undertaking a couple of years ago. It's really developing and getting more and more interest and more applications. And we hope gradually the valleys will develop into real hubs for hydrogen. Some of them will get interconnected and will help developing an EU hydrogen market as well and contribute overall also at the global level where we have started to spread good practices through the mission innovation, the clean energy ministerial initiatives that we have and where we cooperate also with the joint undertaking. Now, as Mirela said, now I'm pleased to moderate this session on lead markets industry. We know that industry is the key driver for hydrogen demand, and decarbonization of certain heavy industries cannot be realized actually just through direct electrification, but needs also decarbonized molecules, gases, fuels, which need to be produced with hydrogen, which in turn can come from renewable energy. And in this way to achieve the climate objectives, but at the same time to make the whole industry in a way more effective, more modernized, answering the needs of the 21st century and contribute to gain a certain leadership at global level. And therefore, and actually if we look also at the IEA studies and so, most of the energy will be used in the future around hydrogen clusters, many in vicinity of ports, and where you also have many of the heavy industries being developed, being refineries, being fertilizers, steel, and so on. So very pleased now to have 4 valleys contributing and sharing with us their experiences, what it works, what was a bit more difficult, and what they expect for the future, and what their plans are, and how they see the developments. Before starting a whole panel discussion with all of them, I would like, first of all, to give the floor to Anamaria Zianveni from the Grande region Hydrogen Valley. And she will introduce this session and present a bit more detailed about the experience with the Grande region Hydrogen Valley. So Anamaria Zianveni, where are you? Here, okay. To stay here or to...
As it's suitable, I don't know. Yes? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a little bit nervous and very honored to have taken the floor in front of you and to speak about Grande region hydrogen. You saw my name. I'm an energy passionate, and since 2017, I'm a hydrogen passionate. So I have the chance to be involved into hydrogen valleys, one who I have the pleasure to present you today. So I suppose this is the remote. Yeah, oh, too quick? Too quick. So, yes, sorry. Yeah, so Grande region hydrogen is one hydrogen valley that I'm administrating on a daily business. It's a huge complexity, it's a cross-border valley, but moreover, it's also grouped in a legal form, a European economic interest grouping, an ecosystem which has an impact from the German border with Luxembourg, Saarland, Rhénanie-Palatinat, Luxembourg, and the Grand Est in France. So that's the geographical scope, with also the purpose of building a hydrogen ecosystem on the entire value chain. And you'll see more details in all that. We have 11 partners or 11 members within our valley with huge projects, huge capacity that you also will see during my presentation. So I hope that at the end you have a clear picture. If not, please feel free that we can chat in the breaks or questions. So first, I also have there. So first a little bit to see where we are located. So Luxembourg, a very small country, Yeah, and also I mentioned about this cross-border impact of our valley. I forgot to mention that the first discussion and the first setup of what we called back then grouping of interest, in fact we didn't have any names because the valley or the clusters or the hubs didn't exist in the form that we know it. It was in 2019, so quite some time ago. So you can imagine that we had the challenge, we learned, we became more stronger. But what is it? So here you have the concrete map. So very complex. You see also the border around there, so Germany, France, Luxembourg again, and to make it even more complex, another thing in the middle. So what is our valley more exactly? Our valley has as a nucleus or in the center in a neutral way a hydrogen pipeline. A hydrogen pipeline of more or less 94 kilometers, that's not more or less. We said either 90, either 100, because we keep on adding 1 kilometer here and there. So around 100 kilometers hydrogen pipelines, partially repurposed, partially new built. We had the chance in this part of the Europe to have discovered back then in 2019 an ecosystem which was favorable and worked with now in our advantage to be able to build this hydrogen valley in the exact location that we have now. So what we have, you saw the pipeline, I think it's somewhere in turquoise, and around there you had our partners that I will mention also afterwards from the entire value chain, as I mentioned. So we have hydrogen producers, partially in France, partly in Germany, and you have off-takers. One of the biggest off-takers is the steel industry in Saarland, which has a huge capacity, and the project was awarded 4.8 billion euros, and it's 4.6. Quite a difference, yeah? And still they are struggling, continuing. So financing a problem for all of us. And you see there hydrogen stations, power to gas units, one of our partner, industrial consumptions, hydrogen to power, and all of the logo of all the partners. You see even ceramics, Villeroy & Bosch. Maybe you heard of them. So a huge variety of off-takers around us. And I have the pleasure, and we are honored to be also a hydrogen certified valley. That's why I am allowed to put the logo there. And we are in this valley game and family that was mentioned by Mirela yesterday and also by Valerie since the beginning and pushing to develop further. So that's a little bit our complexity. What we did, and we said a pioneer. Now, okay, 2019, you can imagine we didn't have neither the European hydrogen strategy, we had nothing. So in 2019, we were really there. So one of the first of its kind initiative, and also we were built to as a knowledge center, shared information, and with in the form of a non-profit organization, and open to join new members in our club. Because I mentioned yesterday to some of you, the purpose of the valley are to become bigger and to interconnect, either via pipelines, either via other means, not to stay isolated. I put there nucleus of energy transformation. So we have the neutral pipeline in the middle that allows us to put together or interlinked hydrogen production, so electrolyzer with industrial consumptions, and also contributing to the decarbonization of the economy. Chicken and egg dilemma solved. Yeah, that's it can be a bit hilarious, but I think we managed because we had common objectives, common timeline, so we advanced on the same pace. So if the off-taker changed the plan, it impacts everybody, but this is life, that's the game. We go alone on the same pace, considering that the pipeline has a deployment of 6 to 7, 8 years, so it's much bigger, but still we are advanced based on a safe timeline. What we have also, we had the possibility to have been awarded several funding mechanisms. So some of the projects are in the game of IPCI, so they receive state aid, so can go along because hydrogen is expensive, at least for the beginning. Now in our present, we have also a PCI project, so that will receive Connecting Europe Facility funds, and a lot of mechanisms that enter in the game that made us successful and a successful valley. So I think that's almost it. Here you can see our members along the hydrogen value chains with some logos there, but what I want you to see is hydrogen production, infrastructure, hydrogen users, and regional energy player, Encevo, the group that I am representing. So that's a little bit what we are doing. That's a little bit our members. That's a little bit some of the things that we built. And I think I had maybe not so much time, but in the questions we can debate in more details what we did. With my thank you and looking forward for the interesting discussions.
Thank you very much, Anamaria, and please take the seat. And now I'm pleased to invite the other three panelists, which will cover various geographical areas, but also various technologies with certain preponderance in those hydrogen valleys. So please first to have from Siemens, Ertan Yilmaz, please. Then the project coordinator of the Hydrogen Valley Hy2 from Austria, Margherita Matzer. Hello. And last but not least, from Poland, Mr. Grzegorz Jóźwiak, Director of Hydrogen Technologies and Synthetic at Orlen. So, the HySpark Hydrogen Valley in Poland, also very, very interesting project, also involving many companies from several countries. So now very pleased to have you all here with us. And I would like to start by inviting all of you to make a short, maybe 3-4 minutes presentation in which to introduce what are you doing, what is your valley doing, what are the particularities you would like to share as an introduction to this panel. So, Ertan, starting with you from Siemens with HYFLEXPOWER, please.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation, and it's a pleasure to be here, represent my company. We are an OEM for power generation, Siemens Energy, and we are at the same time a technology leader in energy. About 1/6 of the global electricity production is based on Siemens Energy technology. At the same time, if you look at the data, global carbon emissions is above 35% from the energy industry. Having said that, I want to mention that one of our core focus areas of our company is the energy transition and the decarbonization. With that, what we try to do is we want to support our customers and the industry to reach their decarbonization goals by developing and deploying renewable energy, such as wind turbines, hydrogen solutions, such as electrolyzers, hydrogen-ready gas turbines, hydrogen compressors, carbon capture technology as well, and also energy storage technologies. And with that being said, the reason why I'm here is really, I want to emphasize one of the important projects. Actually, I have to correct you there, we are not in Hydrogen Valley. We are, the project that we started is HyFLEXPOWER project that was supported by the Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. We started that in 2020, executed it over the 4 years and completed in 2024. with the first ever demonstration of an industrial scale power to hydrogen to power concept. That means we have utilized an existing cogeneration plant, which with a 12 megawatt gas turbine, upgraded it with a hydrogen storage technology, which generates using Siemens Energy electrolyzers, 1 megawatt electrolyzer, to generate green hydrogen from renewables, to store this at site, and then re-electrify this hydrogen in the gas turbine with up to 100% hydrogen. And this was achieved by upgrading the gas turbine as well. And that's not an easy task to be said, because it was the first time ever to do this in a state-of-the-art combustion technology with low emissions. And this has catapulted us really in the forefront of this technology compared to our competitors, and it's openly the race to this technology. Who can do this from 0 to 100%? And with that, I want to conclude this introduction. We have also now received a follow-up funding from Clean Hydrogen Undertaking. I'm sorry about this partnership, and which is the HyCoFlex project. We are very thankful for that as well. We appreciate that a lot, and this will enable us with this project really to commercialize the technology that we have developed and launch it into the market, which we will do within a year's time frame. And with that, I would like to pass over to my co-panelists to introduce herself.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have the one without the light, the red light, so I was not sure if it's working. So thank you for the invitation here, and hello everyone from my side. I'm Margherita Matzer. I'm leading the Hy2 Valley in Austria. That's short for Hydrogen Industrial Inland Valley. We are actually one of the two large hydrogen-scaled hydrogen valley who started this year. So we started in January this year. We have 42 partners and 6 associated partners. We have a budget, an all-over project budget of 588 million. We have 17 projects we want to establish. One is only a study. The others are really there to build a pilot or really like to build something different. There are projects along the whole value chain. So we have production, we have storage, underground storage in porous stone. We have pipelines, we have trailers, and we also have the end use. We have end use mobility, energy, and industry. And as you can imagine from our name, Hydrogen Industrial Inland Valley, we have the focus on industry. Why we have the focus there? Because it was already there. Like this region in Austria, it's in Upper Austria, Styria, and Carinthia. There is the main industry in Austria. So that's why it totally makes sense for us to focus on that, what's already there, and also what will need the most of the hydrogen in this area, that's the industry. We have for the industry, we have steel, chemistry, cement, and lime industry. And we have we started this all to work, to be offered, like in 2017, WIVA PhD, the research association I'm working, was founded. We are an association, we have 21 industry partners and 7 research members. We already, since 2018, coordinated hydrogen projects all over Austria, and this project were also along the whole value chain. So we had already the trust from the industry partners that what we are doing is really good work and that they're really at the end something standing there. And we had the network already there, so when we started to get the idea we really want to be officially a hydrogen valley, it was quite easy. Of course, it's never easy, but comparing to other things, it was easy because it was already there. And for me, the main part why we did it is because our industry partners know they have to change something. We know we want to have energy transition. For the energy transition, they need to change the process, but they cannot do it alone. You cannot, such a huge thing, you cannot do alone, because how can you change your process if there is not a network around it? And that's why they really also want us to do this, and that's why they want to be in the Hydrogen Valley, and that's exactly what our work is, that we connect all of these partners and do it together, because I think we have a big thing we have to do together. We really want to make this change, and this we can only do together, and that's exactly what we are doing, and that's what all the partners in our valley do together. I think when we have a problem, we should not focus, or we have an issue, we should not focus on this, we should focus on the solution, and the Hydrogen Valley is one of the possible solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. And now moving to Grzegorz.
Okay, hello, good afternoon. Thank you for invitation for this panel. I represent Orlen, Polish company which produced fuels, fertilizers, petrochemicals. So we deliver the energy in fuels and electricity to the Central Eastern Europe. And if you are talking about the hydrogen, in our announced strategy, we announced it this year, we see that hydrogen can play key role in decarbonization of our asset, but also renewable and low carbon hydrogen can give us opportunity to create new business lines like production of synthetic fuels, eSAF especially, and of course taking account the RED III directive and goals which we need to realize, especially in the area of fertilizers production. So this is for us a big challenge, and also we addressed it in our strategy. So potentially Orlen are going to use low and renewable hydrogen on the level of 350,000 tons till 235. So this is the main goal, and of course we are not focusing only on our own production, but we also consider the import of this hydrogen. And if take account that we are here on Hydrogen Valleys conference, so we are leader of two valleys in Poland. First, HySpark Valley, which have already received funding from Clean Hydrogen Partnership and is focused on use of hydrogen for decarbonization of Chopin Airport in Warsaw. So this is the first goal of this valley. A second goal is to use renewable hydrogen for fertilizers production. So this the main two goals, and also we are going to delivering the hydrogen to the hydrogen refueling station on the airport by hydrogen powered trucks. So this is the quite integrated solution. And second hydrogen valley which we are developing is large valley on north of Poland, Amber Hydrogen Valley. The main goal is to decarbonize the region, ports in Gdańsk, Gdynia, two big ports, Polish ports, which are interesting of decarbonization of their activities. And there is also big potential of storage in this region. From geological point of view, we have already realized some research and first analysis, and we see that we have quite big potential for storage hydrogen in salt caverns. So this is the reason that we see that this is the very interesting place for implementation first projects and building the hydrogen valley in this region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All very interesting, and from what I hear from all of you, also very interesting in the context of the priorities we have now with the Commission in relation to the Clean Industrial Deal, also as the Net Zero Industry Act, the manufacturing, and also industrial dimension which comes now to reinforce the green energy transition and the climate objectives which stay in long-term constant, and with the commitment we have also with the 2030, but facilitating in a way that economic development and competitiveness goes hand in hand. And this is important also from the perspective of hydrogen as an energy carrier, but also the solution to integrate the higher shares of renewables we are going to have in the energy system. So all this was very interesting. and I will try maybe to ask you a couple of questions, and there may be also some common questions, but for example, Anamaria, your Grande region hydrogen valley, which I saw was really built to a large extent along, you described it, of a pipeline. Yeah? And you know that for us, the pipelines are very important. We have the project of common interest under the CEF, and we have already, by now, calls for projects about 20,000 kilometers of pipelines in Europe on hydrogen, being repurposed or new, mainly repurposed because it's more cost effective. So how has actually cross-border collaboration with your hydrogen valley contributed to success, and what lessons could be applied to other industrial regions, and how the pipeline approach you had have helped in this cross-border cooperation?
Thank you very much for the question. So yes, the entire valley is more than the pipeline. The pipeline is the neutral element in the middle, if I can say element. Off-takers are important, producers are important. So first, the cross-border challenges, they were numerous, because in 2019, we didn't have regulations in place, so it's was no clear idea. But what was clear since the beginning is that the different member states had different agendas related to hydrogen. I mentioned Germany as one of the countries where we have an impact. They are very advanced, and they have a clear agenda and a very proactive approach with the creation of mechanisms and instruments, namely supporting hydrogen pipelines, like the CareNet. That is something that they are putting in place. This mechanism does not exist, to my knowledge, at least not in our region, not in France, in Belgium, in Luxembourg, so I think it's one of its kind. So you can imagine when the pipeline is cross-border, in one part of this pipeline is impacted by some rules which are more advanced than in the others, and moreover, when the country in question has in the hydrogen strategy more support for one part of the hydrogen value chain, namely infrastructure in Germany, and not necessarily in France, or not back then. Now they are also having that. It's quite impactful. Also, another element that I wanted to mention is that first we had issues to evaluate or to determine which member states will gain from the impact. For example, if you do a subsidy on a hydrogen production in France, because you have French producers that will inject in a cross-border pipeline, finally to be used by a German off-takers, you have headaches. So those kind of challenge we had, and we still have them, but very not so much, but we had them, and we managed to go along. Resilience is the key. The important thing, or the positive part here, is having this pipeline in the middle. You can have basically at in the future access to molecules of hydrogen from other parts of the world, because this Mosaic pipeline, because that's the name, of the project that maybe some of you know. If not, maybe you can Google it. It will be interconnected in this European hydrogen backbone. So basically we will be part, and our valley will be indirectly part of what pipeline infrastructure is built here in Europe. So that's a very big challenge. Then the cost was also one where we can get the subsidies. And I do not know if I answered completely the questions, because maybe I was deviating a little bit, but if there are some elements.
No, that's very good. Maybe just to complement my question, how in all this process you found most effective to build the trust and secure the commitments of the off-takers? Yeah, because you describe, especially when they are cross-border, one is in a part of that. So.
Very, very important point indeed. One of the biggest off-takers that I mentioned is the steel industry in Saarland had a survival issue, decarbonize or die, I would say, or at least it sounds very, very dramatic, but it has a decarbonization issue. So they had an interest to go along with that because hydrogen was seen as the savior of their technology in order to go towards the greener product. So regarding the commitment, it was not easy in the beginning because we already have now in place the contracts between the pipeline owner and the off-takers, and now we will have soon also with the productions that producer, sorry. And those contracts were not just a copy-paste from the gas world, because in the gas world, the infrastructure is already there. You didn't have to share the risk in investing it. And now I'm coming to the successful factor. For me, one of the successful and the key factor was shared risk. So meaning you can go along, you will build something from scratch, either it's pipeline, either it's just a production facility for an off-taker or for off-takers, but the risks are shared on the investment. And yeah, from there we can go because there are also downsides, but I will say this as a key element.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you very much. Moving to Siemens and to Ertan now. Of course, you know Siemens since many years also investing in hydrogen and diversity of technologies, including electrolyzing, including fuel cells, including now we saw the progress on hydrogen turbines. So I would like to ask you, how do you see this positioning of this type of projects and of this type of technologies, the recent developments, how does this position compare to the others? How can contribute and in what context can contribute to hydrogen valleys? What type of valleys and industrial applications would benefit most of this, and what is the status of the development here, and what is the value added and the additional competitiveness can bring in certain situations, in certain industrial locations or valleys in this respect, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the question. As I indicated earlier in my introduction as well, what is very critical or important to have success in these valleys is enabling the technology to achieve its goals, what's there for. Yeah? If I look into, for example, PEM electrolyzer technology, we have started with hundreds of kilowatt output, went to 1 megawatt, and now our current model that we are selling for customers for purchase is 17.5 megawatt scale. And if we want to reach the 2050 goal, then we need hydrogen in that large amount, in that scale. And probably 17.5 megawatt will be small, you know, going forward. And this is the main challenge what we are seeing is really the availability of hydrogen. And especially if we decarbonize the energy landscape, when the renewables penetrate, and have a large share of the energy product or there was electricity production. What will happen is during the dark doldrums, when supply and demand are offset, there will be really requirement of peak applications that can supply the electricity that is demanded. And this we see really can be achieved by gas turbines. And the technology to develop this, it's not so straightforward. Siemens Energy has been doing this for many, many years, since 2000s. So in our portfolio, which is from 4 megawatt all the way up to 600 megawatt, our higher efficiency gas turbines, they have currently a capability somewhere around 30 to 75% with hydrogen content by volume, which is pretty good compared to the rest of the competitors. But still, this is 75% is not enough to really reach this 2050 goal. And to do this, that's why we have in 2019, we have committed in EU turbines, commitment that we will have by 2030, gas turbines available for customers to purchase that can operate at 100% hydrogen. And that's why it was so important, this consortium, which we developed with our partners, ENGIE, Centrax for European universities, the DLR, German Aerospace Center, that high-efficiency gas turbines, state-of-the-art, they can operate not only with natural gas, which is also good compared to other technologies, such as coal, which is a good thing, but it can also, the same turbine, without modifications, if you upgrade it, can operate with natural gas all the way with 100% hydrogen. And this you will need in the future, because what you will have is hydrogen will not come from, you swap a switch 100% and everybody will have hydrogen at once, right? It will happen how we see it gradually. Gradually we will increase the pipeline contents of hydrogen, and that's why we need this flexibility, and that's why we need this technology, and that's why it's so important for us that we have it timely ready for our customers, because when they invest multi-million euros in a new plant, when they want to, and this investment is not for 5 years, 10 years, this is going to be 20, 30 years investment. So, and for this transition, if they can have an OEM that can have demonstrated this, or has shown that it can do it, then they would continue purchasing these gas turbines, potentially upgrade it later while the hydrogen is pumped into the net pipelines and delivered. And technology like this that can operate flexibly, that's really key. And with our partners, we demonstrated this in a small, idyllic French village, which nobody knew before probably. Now it's Saillat-sur-Vienne, it's a beautiful village. And that, not on paper, on PowerPoint slides, that we can also really do this using electrolyzer with our partners ENGIE at a recycled paper factory from Swift, the end customer, to convince them to make them this happen. That was really a challenging job. And I think with this, we have shown not the industry, but everybody else, or Europe, that we can do this. And one comment to Konstantin, I think he had a statement that this was the first project that was successful, but I think we have this is the only, this is the first project we started, and I think we are, our success rate is 100%, because I think that was a very successful project, HYFLEXPOWER. We have been also internally within Siemens Energy recognized for this, and also externally. We have won awards in Dubai by the Cogen for innovation. Cogen Europe has awarded us 2024 Technology and Innovation Award. We have been awarded for paper factories, and so on. And I think it's, at the end, what I'm trying to say is really the technology will be able to provide all this transition in energy and decarbonization.
Okay.
Did I answer it?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And let me move now to Margherita, to Austria, and to the successful hydrogen valley there, because it's quite important, especially for industry. And now we see how challenging it's also for some member states to decide what type of instruments to use in the transposition of the RED III directive for industry, how much to be support, how much obligation, and so on. And you have some, in your valley, some good examples on how you reached a final investment decision. Can you share something on this? Because this would be something which may trigger other industries and facilitate also the task of governments in implementation.
Happy to do so, because we started only half a year ago, and we already have, for one of our projects, actually one of the biggest projects, the FID decision. That's the HyForSmelt project. That's a project from First Alpine, Primetals, and K1 Met. And it's a demonstration plant where they, I have it exactly here, sorry, 1 second. So, they can, it's a new iron making process based on ultrafine or iron ores and hydrogen. And with this demonstration plant, they can have a capacity from 3 tons per hour to produce this iron ores. And with this pilot, they reach from TRL level 6 to TRL level 8. So it's what the only step what's then afterwards needed is really that they make it big to really be then to change everything to this part. So this is the last level they need to make it really a whole process out of it. And they, voestalpine is the biggest steel producer in Austria. And of course, the CO2 they produce by the same time is huge. So they know they have to change their process. And they already had several projects in advance. For example, Steel or Hy4 or Smelter. There were projects already co-funded by the Austrian government. And there have the several steps. And now the Hy4 Smelt compare two of the projects, the Hy4 and the Smelter together in really there on the area where the other produce the normal steel to see that it works together and the whole process is working. So for them that was a huge investment decision. They are part of the valley, but the money they get out of the valley will not at all help them for the really final investment decision, but it helped them to get the contact to the other partners and to really be safe in a safe environment in this way, to invest further. And then they got several fundings from the national fund, because in Austria we have the possibility to get funded quite well. So they have their fund and then the personal investment by themselves. Of course, it's more than half of the one they invest. Came to the conclusion that they will do it. And so around last month, they made the final investment decision. And yeah, what is maybe also important to say this way, for the pilot plant they built now, they have the hydrogen already. It was important for them to have the hydrogen, and they have a 6 megawatt electrolyzer based on their area that's coming from H2 Future. That's another for European Commission funded project years ago. That's running fine, and at the moment they're also getting the hydrogen from this plant. So based on something what we did already before in Austria, they have the security to have the hydrogen. They know they have to change to a neutral production, and that's why they came to the conclusion, okay, we want to make this final investment decision now for this pilot plant to see that the process is working so that in the future they can really change the whole system.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting. And I guess this maybe could serve as a model also for other industrial regions in Europe. And I guess you may be willing to share this, the whole story, the combination of projects, all the way to get there, and the combination of funding, no?
Yes. I think it is really important for a valley to help others to connect, and also to make replication, that it's really working together. I think you cannot expect a blueprint for every region. Like every region is different, so have a blueprint. It's working in Austria, so exactly the same way it has to happen to work in Poland, that won't work. That's totally different. But several parts of it can work, especially for the industry partners, where there is quite often the question where to start, and this can be shared because they're like, okay, where should we start? We have to do it, but how do we do it? How can we share it? And this is a part where I think the industry partner can for sure help each other. We in our valley have replication partners from 5 different countries: Latvia, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Romania. They are looking at several aspects we have in our valley, and they will look if they can replicate this part of them. But even further, beside our definitely wanted replication partners, we are happy for other partners to share information, to get knowledge exchange, because we can really learn quite a lot from each other. The funding situation is something that happens in every nation a little bit differently, so it's how we can do it in Austria, because we have the possibility for a lot of national fundings. We will, of course, at our valley also use some of the European fundings, further fundings, beside the Clean Hydrogen Partnership, that are taking funding, of course, but most of the further funding will then come from the national.
Thank you. Very interesting. Now let me move to Grzegorz. And what you described was really very, very interesting because you really cover everything: maritime ports, airport facilities, fertilizers. So it's really a very complex project. But a very complex project involving, I understand, about 17 companies from Poland, Germany, Italy, UK, Ireland. So plus universities, plus research institutes. So what can you share in terms of collaboration between all these stakeholders involved and how to manage to put them together and to find a common ground for action between them?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Yes, this is quite challengeable for us to coordinate this type of projects, of course, because we have many partners from different countries and they are responsible for each work package. We create a few work packages, and this is worth to mention that this project is also connected with other projects which we as Orlen realizing, because the key element of this project is to produce these renewable hydrogen deliveries to the airport station, to the fertilizers production plant, to build the infrastructure, so hydrogen refueling station. And for HRS, we received funding from Connecting Europe facilities. So this is this approach. Also for production side, last week we received the information about national funding, and we received for this installation of production renewable hydrogen the funding which were connected with IPCI program. So after 2 years and 8 months, we finally received the funding, national funding from this program, and the level of this funding is 450 million euro for all, let's say, capacity of production of renewable hydrogen. So this is also worth to mention in this project that was connected with other different projects from funding point of view, just to create the let's say production level of renewable hydrogen and all aspects of economy of this project. So and backing to the question, if we are talking about the coordination of the project, so we have as a partner the producer of buses, which will be utilized as buses on the airport, as well as city buses for, let's say, municipal use in Warsaw. So they have the dedicated work package, and we just coordinate the timeline of realization of this package with our, let's say, activities connected with building the hydrogen refueling station close to the airport. So this is, let's say, the very, very important to have some kind of constant communication, just to avoid the situation that we will have buses waiting for infrastructure. So this is this type of cooperation. Also taking account that we are going to implement this luggage trolleys on the airport. So also the same situation, we cooperate together on just to achieve the same time of realization of these activities. For us, also crucial is cooperation with airport operator, but also local authorities. So this is the challenges connecting with permitting, and in this area now we're facing with the challenge of encourage these authorities that hydrogen solutions are safety, and I remember our first meeting when they said, Grzegorz, you are going to create Hindenburg case on our airport. so I explained them that we have already implemented few hydrogen refueling stations and invited them to our hydrogen refueling station in Poznań. And it gives us opportunity to encourage them that we have today many, let's say, solutions, safety solutions, which can help us to control the refueling process, etc., etc. So this is also some example how we can how we need to react very quickly to avoid any let's say obstacles on realization of the project, and also in area of utilization of hydrogen as a feedstock for fertilizers production. Also, we see that this is very interesting case because it will be some kind of pilot. A small amount of renewable hydrogen from 5 megawatts electrolysis capacity also will be utilized as a feedstock for fertilizers production. But we are going to use this case just to also confirm all aspects of regulatory challenges, because we need to fulfill the RFNBO definition of hydrogen, we need to fulfill the all rules like additionality. We would like to assess if generally it is possible to, let's say, to produce constantly the fertilizers, taking account these restricted rules which are defined in delegated act for to directive. So this type of cooperation now we are realizing. Of course, we are at the very beginning because we kick off this project in January this year. So we are still on the exciting phase. So all challenges we will need to address in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know the time is flying, but I would like to ask you all a last question. And in general, we hear all the time, and we know that there is an issue with the demand creation, and notably in industry, where we see, on the other hand, the biggest potential for hydrogen to contribute to decarbonization. But, and we know the requests we have for governments in terms of regulatory aspects, predictability, financing, support, and all these aspects. But if you put yourself now just, and would be on a side where you would need to advise these off-takers, the industry, and say what they should do in order to help themselves and in relation to hydrogen producers, in relation to pipeline manufacturers, in relation to transmission system operators, in relation to all the other actors, including the government, what they would need to do in order to tap better into the opportunity for hydrogen. What would be your advice to the industries from this angle? So for all of you, just a quick reply if possible.
That's a tough one. So basically for the off-takers, I would say transparent plans vis-a-vis of the partners. Either it's pipeline, either it's just an electrolyzer facility that will supply hydrogen for them. Transparent plans are the key, because on the other side, I mentioned pipelines, several years of implementing to be, at least. Electrolyzer is still not, if you need hydrogen in 1 month, you cannot put an electrolyzer into place. From the IPC to putting into place, it's at least 1 year if you have all the money and everything ready and the permitting. So transparent plans. Then I would say apply for subsidies because because it's expensive. Without subsidies, you cannot do it anymore. And last but not least, start yesterday, if I may say, because for the industry, it's a question of next steps. So you will have the cost one way or another. Either is with the ETS, either you decarbonize and you save there. So you will still, in this game of, you'd have to act. There is another possibility, you can delocalize, but this is something that we would not like in Europe to have, or others, but this, for me, it's one of the challenge. And yeah, you said short.
Okay, no, very, very good. Thank you. Ertan, you're done.
Yeah, I try to be short as well. And it's really, every project, every valley, it's going to has its own challenges. And if it would be easy, everybody would have done it. Yeah, and it's not going to be easy. And I can tell you that You know, we started that, for example, 2018. There was internally challenges, externally challenges. The government will challenge you. Safety aspects are new. Nobody maybe has done it before. You will have evaluations of safety regulations that need to be reassessed. So you need to be really, really have a team that is ready to help each other to be successful. And that's what we have really achieved, because we had a common mission, common vision, and everybody was bought in. Everybody sacrificed something. Some people sacrificed a day of vacation, other things. You know, our testing was during the summer. They were on site. So what I'm trying to say, it's going to be, you need regulatory buy-in, government buy-in, partner buy-in, and it's going to be always something new. You know, when we started 2019, there was no COVID. We didn't meet each other 2020 for 2 years. Our first face-to-face meeting was at site when we were testing, you know, and then the war then started in Ukraine. Then, you know, and all these challenges, you need to be prepared to rely on each other. Even though you're different partners, you need to act as one organism to really support each other when needed. And that's when you'll make it successful, I think.
Thank you.
I think 3 points. First of all, it is a risk, but it was ever a risk to invest in the future. So don't be scared of a risk. Of course, it shouldn't be too big of a risk, but some risk is there and will be there all the time when you invest in the future. But if you want to be there in the future, you have to take this risk. Second, collaboration and transparency. So collaborate, as the 2 people before me said already, collaborate with the gas grid people, with the producer, with the government, with everyone around, and to be transparent about your plans, and also then make knowledge change so that you also know what was the problem with or the issues for other industry partner, what can you learn from this, and then help other industry partners to do so. And the third one is, don't forget the public people, because quite often in Austria we had the issue that someone wanted to change something coming from hydrogen, and that for hydrogen the public so far is okay. They never stop the project, but we know it from the past that if you don't have the people, the common people of an area included, this can also be a shortcut. So involve them from the beginning. Don't forget about them.
Thank you very much. Grzegorz?
Okay, so I represent off-taker, so I can give advice myself.
Yes.
But of course, from our experience point of view, I can say that we have, I think, see 3 main challenges connected with let's say, use of hydrogen in our assets. First is connected with lack of infrastructure. So today there is lack of pipeline connection dedicated for hydrogen. So this is not easy to, let's say, to cooperate with producers of green hydrogen, because taking account the cost of production, it would be great if we will have the production of hydrogen close to the renewables, and then send the hydrogen to our assets, refinery assets or fertilizers production assets. But in this area we cooperate strictly with transmission system operator in Poland, and we create dedicated pipeline infrastructure in Poland just to participate in the European hydrogen backbone and this type of initiative, which can help us in the future to send this hydrogen. Second challenge is connected with, of course, cost of production of renewable hydrogen. And this is for us not easy to, let's say, cover this gap between the existing production cost of grey hydrogen, because the gap between the green and grey hydrogen is very high, and somebody need to let's say, cover this gap. We can pay, of course, some kind of portion of green premium just to realize our regulatory goals. But of course, we need to have also additional funding, and we as Orlen, as I mentioned, we participated in the past in IPCI program, and we have already received support for our own production projects. But also we are interested of import of green low carbon ammonia, and we announced tender for that, and we expect that also we can realize our goal in this way. But the third challenge is connected with regulatory. I mentioned it earlier that, for example, if we take on the cost of production renewable hydrogen, we see that the delegated act which defined the RFNBO hydrogen quite significantly increased the cost of production of hydrogen. So at least this additionality rule should be postponed 8-10 years, just to allow, let's say, also in this country like Poland to develop renewables and then produce renewable hydrogen. So from my perspective, this is these key challenges.
Yeah, so still I was asking you what the industry should do. We know what the governments to do, but what the industry should do to help the others. So
explain.
Stay from the other side.
Industry should explain.
So, bon, I think here we can conclude. First of all, thank you. So it's clear we need very good planning. We need transparency. We need to collaborate with a sense of compromise, from what I get from you. Don't be risk adverse and involve the public. So if the industry will do all this, together with what the governments and the other actors should do, would help creating together a better framework and climate and conditions for investing together. So thank you very much. Applause for our panel. Thank you.